Good morning. It's August 4th and it's a Sunday. So I wanted to take you to my park, my little community garden, out of which I've already made one of the videos, but I wanted to show you where I usually walk in the morning. And the reason why it's important, my walk in the morning, is because several months ago now, on April 22nd, I stopped drinking coffee. And I have already spoken about it, written about it in my newsletter. So if you're following me in my newsletter, then you already know that. And if you're not following me on my newsletter, then you should, because I'm telling interesting stories on my journey of healing and regulation, self-regulation. So, this is the park where I walk every morning, but it started relatively recently because usually when we just got here, I adored my mornings on the roof. It was so peaceful and calm and wonderful. But what I started doing, so end of April, I stopped drinking coffee. And in the beginning, I remember that it was such a difficult thing, not so much the actual coffee, the withdrawal from coffee, but what was difficult is that I disrupted my morning routine. My coffee was something that I dreamed of before I went to sleep the night before. I needed my coffee. I wanted my coffee. I'm going to sit here in the shade and talk with you. So I wanted my coffee and I needed my coffee. And I, to stop was a really big deal for me. And I really wasn't even, I wasn't sure that I could. But it ended up being a relatively easy process because I was working with a coach in a group, as part of a group where I was able to connect to my why. What was it that I needed? Why did I need that jolt of energy in the morning? And what was it? And it took me to my childhood and the way it felt to be a little girl, and how it didn't feel safe to be slow and lazy and to wake up peacefully. We needed to perform often, always, and nothing was ever good enough. So when I started processing and kind of integrating all these experiences and all these thoughts, it became easier to give up coffee, because I also realized that the inner child that had these experiences before is no longer the one who needs to do that. I'm now living, as an adult. I'm running my own business. I don't need to be anywhere early in the morning. Yes, of course I have my sessions, I have my commitments, but I can structure my day the way I want and need, and I don't need to rely on anything on outside of myself. It was a long time coming. I was not ready for a while until I became ready to confront my addiction to coffee. And so these things are very, it's important to, at least I find, it's important to get to the point where you have the capacity to deal with whatever it was that this addiction, this substance from outside of you, whether it's sugar or coffee or anything else, whatever you were getting from there, you're gonna need something else if you were to give it up. So for me, the whatever habit of caffeinating myself in the morning was a very, very old habit. And when I dissected it and integrated the emotion behind it and realized that today I don't have the same needs as I did when I was a little girl, I was able to let it go relatively easily. But what I wanted to talk about today even more is what did I replace my morning routine with? Because the coffee, which was the staple, the coffee that was the centerpiece of my morning routine, when it was no longer there, I was kind of lost, because it's like, what do I drink? Water just didn't have the same magnitude, like the same importance, nor the same satisfaction. And in the beginning, it was a little tricky. Like, I needed to find something. What was also interesting is that I started eating my breakfasts around the same time, because I never had breakfast before, because I was on adrenaline from coffee, and my body had the signal that it didn't need food. But of course, my body needed food. My body needed nourishment. It's just the adrenaline in my body from coffee blocked the sensation of hunger. So I started eating breakfast. And then I also started experimenting with, at some point, I went for a walk. So I would have a glass of water, and because it's so easy here, I would just walk out of the house, and I would walk for like 15-20 minutes. I would come to this lovely park that I love so much. And what I started noticing was this, like, all the grogginess of the morning, of like after the night, all the kind of crankiness. Sometimes I would wake up from a dream and I would feel that I'm still under the influence, even if I didn't remember the details. All that started clearing away. So I would walk. First of all, the beginning of the day is always so beautiful. The birds were chirping. The sun was just rising and was filtering through the leaves. I would come and I would talk to my trees that I love. I would see who is, growing new leaves and having babies. And so that filled me with joy and pleasure. But besides that, just the pure pleasure of walking and being in nature, and of course the oxygen that was filling my body and was waking up all the systems and all the processes, I also started realizing that even 15-20 minutes walk cleared my head. So whatever debris from the night, or whatever debris from the dreams, or whatever anxiety, like kind of a leftover anxiety sometimes I would feel in the morning, and I couldn't quite put the finger on why, like there was no story to really attach to it. When I would walk in the morning, it would kind of replace coffee for me, because it gave me that clarity. It rebalanced my systems. It made me kind of reconnect to this day, kind of being here now, reconnect to this new day. It also allowed me, kind of some space and time to consider, okay, these are some of the things I need to do today, or I'd like to do today, maybe set an intention. And by the time I would get home, 15-20 minutes later, sometimes a little longer if that's what it took, I was able to have my breakfast and start my day. And that just has worked very well for me. It served me well. And I wanted to share with you, anyone who is considering maybe giving something up, or maybe starting a morning routine that is more holistically beneficial, then consider that. So what I do now, I wake up, I have a glass of water with lime juice, squeeze a fresh lime in it, just half a lime even, and I go for my walk, and then I come back and I am, all of the systems are moving. I'm able to, to eliminate what I need to eliminate, and I'm able to have my breakfast, and then I can start my day. My mind is by then clear, thanks to being in nature and to being oxygenated and having gotten some sun on my skin, and I'm ready to start the day. So wanted to share this with you. Let me know how it lands, and I'll see you tomorrow.